Today's episode of If We Ran Nintendo is being brought to you by Barry Dunne. Coming very soon, he will be presenting to you the next Impact Direct, an awesome indie showcase of some truly amazing developers and games. Some you know, some you don't know. So be sure to check that out. Coming very soon.
If We Ran Nintendo.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 140 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all the land, Mr. Sean Cooperative.
Woo, it's a celebration, Bobby. 140, we made it. Did you know the podcasts that reach 140 episodes go on to last forever and ever, years and years? 140. It's a magic number, man. Yep. It's amazing.
The funny thing is I haven't moved Breaking Bells into the double digits yet.
See?
I'm there. I mean, I have episodes in the can. Theory. I have episodes in the can. I just haven't done it. So this week
doesn't matter. Doesn't count.
Push it over the
edge. Doesn't count, Bobby. It's good to see you, my friend. It doesn't honestly today. This episode actually snuck up on me a little bit. Like it didn't feel like Friday at all. So yesterday was Valentine's Day as we record this, and I got home very late from work. I had a late meeting. I got home, threw Lincoln in the bath, and then put him to bed. I didn't even see much more than maybe 20 minutes of him. And he freaked out. He had a really awful time. He was like scratching at the door. He usually stays in bed, and he wanted to spend some time with his dad, and it was brutal. So then finally get him down to bed. I go downstairs and I just crash on the couch. Like just as soon as Valentine's Day, Chelsea's sitting there playing Spider-Man, and I'm just snoring like a son of a gun on the couch. So today I'm well rested. I had a nice sleep and everything. I feel bad for essentially bailing on Valentine's Day. So I messaged Chelsea today to say, hey, thank you for the restful night. If you want to hang out tonight, I think we should hang out tonight. And she goes, I think I'd rather play Spider-Man.
Wow. Wow.
And I'm like, man. I love this woman.
Oh my God.
Girl, my dreams. Are you kidding me? So the point of this whole story really is not only that Chelsea is amazing, but like I completely forgot that today was Friday. I was trying to talk to her and everything, but like today is good thing she said no, because she said yes. I was still gonna do this.
Yeah, you've been like, Chelsea, remember when I wanted to do something?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Can't do that. Dude. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. That's so funny. Yeah, man, it did. It crept up real quick.
Yeah,
we finally got the Nintendo Direct this week that we had been promised for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it finally came. And you know what, man, I was
surprised, Bobby. We're gonna start this episode like we do each and every week with our geek outs. Yes, our geek outs. The Nintendo Direct happened. I can't believe we're getting Zelda. Remember when you reacted? It was amazing.
Oh, it was very impressive, dude.
My vein in the top of my head is more pronounced than normal. Something's going on here. Are you noticing this? It's my flux capacitor vein.
Get back on topic. Stop.
All right.
But no, the Direct happened, and I was thoroughly surprised by some of the stuff, and very pleased. And I actually, the ending, it just was amazing.
Yeah,
just awesome.
I loved knowing what happened. I watched the Direct first, and then I went back and watched your reactions.
Oh, my reactions.
So 2 comments. Number 1, I already put on your video. I love that you're calling him bro the whole time. It just cracks me up. Come on, bro. I want my Animal Crossing, bro. He's like this formal Japanese man. He's very polite, and you're sitting there like broing him up like Jersey Shore over here.
This is what we do.
I love it, dude. And then, knowing that you wanted Animal Crossing, you're asking for it the whole time, and I'm knowing, you're not going to get it. But then it's that Switch, man. It's that classic. It's not really a Switch, but it's the switcheroo.
Yeah.
And you thought you were going to do something else that you thought you wanted. Nintendo does that classic thing where, nobody was asking for this.
No.
Literally, and I'd love for somebody to say, I wanted this. I was asking for a total new art style remaster of this Game Boy game.
Yeah.
Holy
I think most people just would have been happy with a port to the Switch.
Exactly.
Just a straight port over to the Switch.
But totally reimagined. I feel like Nintendo is rewriting the book on remasters in that way. Everybody else is doing. Everybody kind of knows what to expect. when it comes to these rewrites, and this is totally different, man. I'm absolutely stoked. I know a lot of people haven't played this game. So it'll be the first time for a lot of people to play it in this new way, which is amazing.
Yeah, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. But, Sean, let's kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our shout-outs.
Geek-outs, yes! More geek-outs. Holy crap, it's a whole show of geek-outs, Bobby. Hooray.
Oh, boy.
Oh, you love me.
Well, I tolerate you. Love is a strong word.
I'll take it. Take what I can get, man.
So my first shout-out is to Marcus Sellars. And I wanted to maybe explain a little bit more in detail as to why my video yesterday, I did a Nintendo Guru Daily video today, it's kind of come back. It's come back in a big, bad way. But anyway, I apologized to him yesterday. And the reason being is, a year ago, I was kind of in his corner pretty strong and believed a lot of things that he was saying and like supported him and defended him. And then this year, when I did my return, I feel like I came back with a little bit of ego and a little bit of bravado. And just like, I know it all. I went to E3. I hung out with Jules Watcham. I sat in with an interview with Colin Moriarty. I met Josue Pon. I met all these people. Like, I felt like I was just like the king of the world. And he made the announcement of the Switch Pro. He's the one that broke that story, not the Wall Street Journal. You know what I mean? He broke that story. And then the Wall Street Journal comes in afterwards, and then everybody believes it, and everybody's talking about it. Now, whether we get it or not is neither here nor there. But the thing of it is I took some shots at him on the Nintendo Guru Daily, and basically just told him, like, stop what you're doing. Stop listening to these people. They're making you look like an idiot. And it got into this big kind of heated thing. And then, I took to just taking jabs where I could at him. And I just felt like something well, I'll tell you exactly what happened. He favorited a tweet that I sent out over a year ago where it was a Nintendo talk, and it was talking about his rumor. And when I broke down the rumor as it was, his leak was top-down Zelda, Link's Awakening.
No,
inspired.
It wasn't.
Yes,
no
it
way.
was. Yes, it was. He nailed it, dude. The only things he didn't nail was it was coming to the 3DS, and it was coming last year. Now, hindsight being what it is, 2020, it's simple. It's real simple. Metroid flopped on the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other games flopped on the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
Switch is selling like gangbusters. Games are selling like gangbusters. And Nintendo just was like, put a pin in it. We're going to work this. We're going to have to move this over to the Switch, start working it over and get it there. And the time that when it was supposed to launch, that he said it was supposed to launch, till now, seems about a relatively decent amount of time to do the conversion from the 3DS over and optimize it for the Switch and all that stuff. So what he did was when he liked it, I went back and watched that Nintendo talk. Because in my mind, I was like, oh, you just said top-down Zelda. That's all. So what? That's easy. Of course you're going to do a top-down Zelda. But when I actually sat there and watched what he predicted, I went, wow.
That's crazy.
I'm a jack-off. So ultimately what happened to me was, because the Zelda thing never came true, I took it upon myself to go, well, if that never came true yet, you're lying about this too.
Yeah.
And it steamrolled something. So when he liked it, I actually went back, I watched it, and then yesterday I was like, you know what? I owe him an apology. So that's why I did that in the Guru Direct.
That's
and I was just like,
buddy.
yeah, I was just like, hey, man, I can admit that I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I apologized to him.
I can remember a time when you couldn't do that. So this is very amazing.
Dude, there was, trust me. There's anyway.
You have these moments that, like, I just really love about you. Like, every now and then you surprise me with, like, oh yeah, Bobby's a grown-up. Look at that. You're
It's not often. It's not often.
Take that in the spirit in which it's not supposed to sound as dickish as that sounded. Like, you're very, like, you have a childlike sensibilities to you. You know, we love Nintendo, and we get fanboyish a little bit, but of course, you can recognize when maybe it's about time to send out an apology.
So the nice thing is, this is kind of funny. The nice thing is that I throw that out there. He goes and watches the video, and then tweets back and says, "I accept your apology, Bobby."
Love it.
And he started following me on Twitter again, and I followed him, and I'm like, okay, we're cool.
So
here.
tomorrow night, or Saturday, as people are listening to this, Marcus Sellars on Nintendo Talk Live. When are we gonna have this happen? He's got to get. I
did reach out to him once. He just doesn't have like a video set up and all that.
That's okay.
So I did say to him like, hey man, when you get it set up, let me know, and we'll bring you on and all that. So that him and I were, I feel like, pretty good friends at one point. Like we were communicating in DMs, talking a lot. And then it just got awry, and I blame myself for that. So
you know what though, I don't blame you a little bit. Like let's look at the facts. There are so many people out there claiming to know things about Nintendo. Everybody's uncle works at Nintendo. This is an age-old story. So from everything that you knew, he was wrong, and he was one of these other people who like it's a little conflation. It's like you're probably still right to come down on most of these people for thinking that they know stuff and claiming things that either never happened, they're very specific and they never happened, or they're so vague that like even idiots like us could have predicted. Like, oh man, definitely going to be another Mario coming out for this next console.
Game number 3.
Yeah, that's exactly. Stupid. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Very cool, man. That's a great shout out.
I got one more, but do you have one?
I have a similar shout out actually. So
okay, go ahead.
I struggle with this word, shout out. I'm also very rosy tonight. I apologize. Something happened. I'm not sure what. I also have an apology because on the Xbox Drive earlier this week, you might know that I do another show called the Xbox Drive. I record it while I'm in my car with Luke Lore. Ball. And Luke was genuinely confused about when this next BioWare Anthem game is coming out. And this all loops back to a spreadsheet that EA had put out. And I came down on the fact that people were, what I thought was really perpetuating like this mass confusion and hysteria. Like, oh my God, this thing is so complex and crazy that they need a spreadsheet. So let's all dogpile on EA. And I reacted, and I didn't think the reaction was genuine, was kind of my number one thing. I thought this was people taking their chance and taking a shot at EA. So I had called out, I used the Megadads. I wasn't calling out them specifically, but I used them as an example of many people who were doing this. And this was not good for my relationship with the Megadads, I'll say that. And as it turns out, Luke genuinely was confused. We both kind of talked about this, and he's like, yeah, it's probably not that confusing. And then he was thinking, okay, so Anthem comes out sometime in March. And I'm like, no, it's February 22nd. And he's like, oh. And it dawned on me, I'm like, oh, maybe that spreadsheet did confuse things. So I had this realization, last week, I'm like, maybe Adam and I actually talked things out, and everything was good. So my shout out is to the Megadeth, specifically to Adam. And I'm glad that we were able to talk through things. I'm glad that we just kind of cut through all the crap and we could be grown-ups. And, I had a number of realizations. And I just want to give Adam a shout out. Also, shout out to the Megdads. They're about to celebrate their 5th anniversary. And they're actually having like a live get together in and around Minneapolis. And I've checked into flights. I'm seriously considering a $650 same day round trip flight.
You're nuts.
I don't know.
Nuts.
I don't know.
They're not worth that. They're not worth. Let's not get crazy, okay? You're feeling melancholy because you stepped on some toes.
No, because what I'm doing is I thought this whole time I was going to be going to E3 this year, but I just had a meeting. The reason I was late coming home earlier this week is there's an event that people want to do right around E3, which may keep me from flying out to LA, which is brutal.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna
So I got to be. It all comes from Adam at the end of We the Gamercast said. Something to the effect of like, we're all great friends, but we're probably destined never to meet. And that has been ringing in my brain ever since. It really bothers me. But at the same time, like you and I have touched, and I've touched James Johnson.
Not to brag, Sean, but I've actually touched Adam and John.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Oh, Bobby.
Just saying, man. Like we're good friends, man. I bought Adam a lemonade. They got me a discount on a lot of artwork.
You haven't even bought me a lemonade. I had to buy my own Wawa, for God's sakes.
Hey, man. Adam's got a.
You know how much that cost me? It was like $600 Canadian.
Well, that's not my fault. That's not. So, the one thing I do want to say is, I'm going to piggyback off that because there was a little bit of discrepancy. I listened to Megadads this week. And Adam was taking shots at their hot takes and stuff that they were doing. And they were saying that, like, people that say that Sony does stuff exactly the same is wrong. and it's a garbage argument. And I started a little beef on Twitter. I want to tell Adam, I'm sorry. You're right. Sony doesn't do the same of everything. They put out a classic that doesn't sell,
it way worse.
and that's something that that nobody can do except for Sony. So I'll give you that. They don't do everything the same. They flop big and bad.
My God, Bobby,
my
hot fire.
My next shout out is to the NinMobileNews.
Oh, shui.
Man, them guys are on fire, bro.
Yeah, he's
on
back.
Fire. He's big bad way, man.
Mm-hmm.
They are hammered down all cylinders. Man, I literally this week got the next round of Amiibo because of them.
Oh my God, I have not been able to find them in Canada. If somebody, Zach Erickson or whoever, please tell me, how the heck do I get my hands on? I showed these to Chelsea, and she's like, we've got to have those. She's like, I love the piranha plant. Like, of all the things, you got them in your hands. This is a pure geek out moment. You son of a gun. Look at that. That was awesome.
Yeah, piranha plant.
I never knew who, like, if you would have told me a year ago, hey, you're going to be super jealous. That is amazing. The King K. Rool. Holy, he's so boisterous, and his belly is just so, like...
And then the ice climbers.
I'm just at the part, I'm almost at the end of Console Wars, Todd Oxtra, and they're just talking about, they just released Donkey Kong Country. And I had no idea that the way that they revealed it, the way that they knew so strongly ahead of time that was like the best game. They went on and said, this is the best game ever created by Nintendo.
Yeah.
Isn't that nuts? That's a bold statement.
It is a bold statement.
Even at that time, like even that early on, for them to say better than anything they'd created. Anyway, what the hell are we talking about? You're going on something else. NinMobileNews.
So basically, because I follow Hoshway and on NinMobileNews, and I have the bell rung, so every tweet he sends, I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
smart.
I got the Fire Emblem, Three Houses, Collector's Edition from Best Buy. Dude, this thing is unbelievable, dude.
Is it?
Oh my God, so much stuff in it, and it's like, so because of these guys, I was able to get a lot of stuff. So that's my final shout out.
Everybody should be doing that, man. You say it very casually, like this is what I did.
I say it all the time, man. But
I know, but just remember, like there's some notifications on Twitter, very important.
Yeah, and he's not the type of person that tweets and blows your mind away.
Right.
Like it's not like he tweets important stuff.
Yep.
So it's good to know. You know what I mean? So it's great. I get a lot of news off of him, man. Seriously. So anyway, so we're gonna hit our new segment once again, and it's our shout out showcase. This game is it's called Degrees of Separation by Modus Games. I don't know if you saw this, Sean. It was in one of the indie spotlights, I believe, in the one in Europe. This game is actually out now. It's a 2D adventure platforming. Experience beautifully crafted 2D worlds with a deeply immersive art style based on the aspects of contrasting temperatures. So essentially what it is you have one is fire, one is ice, kind of, or one is hot and cold. And it's a puzzle that you kind of work together, both characters. Like you would think they're going to fight each other or whatever, but they're not. They're working through these levels together, and solving puzzles together. So like if they can't stand together, so like one has to be one place, one has to be the other, and then you can like move around the map or around the level and keep separated. Innovative storytelling. Discover the potential of dual protagonists, Ember and Rime, and follow a complex story by acclaimed video game writer Chris Avellone. Navigate distinct worlds and solve puzzles to organically alter situations and surroundings. Harness the powers of Ember and Rime in both single-player and local cooperative multiplayer. Shortly after launch, long-distance relationships will be enabled via multiplayer online, which is pretty awesome. Non-linear levels traverse through diverse landscapes that each introduce a new game mechanic, weaving together gameplay, narrative, and character progressions. Again, I don't know if you saw this game. Aesthetically, it's pleasing to the eye. It's a really good game. I believe it retails for $19.99 if I'm not mistaken. And it's a definite grab. You got to grab this game. It's a really good game. Like I said, it is out now. Check the show notes. You can watch the trailer for the game if you like, and also there's a link to the website to the to the theme. So they gave me a review code. I want to thank them for that. and you'll see some more coverage on it on Nintendo Guru YouTube channel. So that's about it.
Very nice.
Yeah. So next we're gonna jump into some topics. So relax, Todd Aksha.
God, one of these weeks we're just gonna let it go. Like,
the funny thing is
like, he just checks in. I'm not even convinced he listens to an entire episode. He'll just listen.
I think he listens till he hears his name and he shuts it off.
And he's like, I'm good. Yeah.
He's like, I'm good now. We're good.
He gets that little dopamine rush, like, oh, they remembered me, and then that's it.
It's become a running gag. It's not even like whatever. People are probably like, who the hell's
Todd Aksha? So mean.
So we're coming at this next topic with it's multifaceted. We have multiple things we're doing here, and it's a little different. But it's also basically the same topic, just spun different ways.
Sure.
So obviously, with the success and the screaming and clamoring of this Zelda game that just got announced Wednesday, we kind of wanted to roll into that and lean into that a little bit with this week's topic. So we're going to start with one, move to the second, move to the third. But the first one I want to hit on is, Sean, what would be the next Zelda game that we would remaster? What do you feel is the game that, like, man, this game just needs an upgrade, needs to be, fine-tuned or something done to it? So, before we do that, though, let's look at this. So they've really come in strong with the remasters. When you look at Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess. They've all gotten remasters.
Sure, like the 3DS Ocarina of Time is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, Ocarina was
Majora's Mask.
Because the way I feel like they redid them full scale. Like they're not HD, but they redid them. They fixed things that were wrong with them. They remastered them. Don't shake your head like that. They did. The camera controls are better. There's a lot of stuff that's better in those games than the originals. And graphics, they improved the graphics.
So the thing is, and one of the things that I was starting this show off with is that Nintendo is rewriting the book on what we should expect from these remasters. And I feel, this is my feelings, can't tell you how I feel, Bobby.
Oh, boy.
I don't feel that the 3DS remaster of Ocarina of Time or the 3D-ish version is... it matches that. I don't think that what we're seeing from this brand new Link's Awakening is I think it's light years beyond what they did with Ocarina of Time. So for me, I wanted to kind of like kickstart the topic off a little bit by just saying, like, what are our options really? Like, Link to the Past seems like a given. We sort of got that with the Link Between Worlds. But like, as I kind of went through, like, I don't know that I want anything more than for them to remake Ocarina of Time, because I feel, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, I don't think it holds up. I don't think it holds up at all. I think there's a lot to be said about Ocarina of Time that it doesn't stand up. Like, when people play it for the very first time, that's the lens I'm going to look at this through. Yeah. People play this for the very first time and they get really confused when they hear other people say, this is the best game of all time. And I don't blame them for that. So I feel like this is a chance for Nintendo to remind everybody that this is the story and to try and recapture and recreate the wonder of hitting Hyrule Field in that 3D space for the first time ever. Like that one time you're just like, holy crap, I'm on my horse and I'm giving it carrots and I'm just going across this thing. And for them to like fill that place up, even better than they did in Breath of the Wild, for them to fill it and make it a living world and dynamic with like all the things that we come to know about open worlds now, I feel like there's a lot that can be redone about Ocarina of Time. Yeah. Sorry, not sorry.
No. So my thing is this. I feel like my personal opinion is if they're going to do this, they've already spent time and money on Ocarina, on Majora's Mask.
Sure.
And I would like to see them just set them aside for a little bit and go look at other stuff. And for me, I feel like I would almost like to see a duo pack done, and I would like to see the original Zelda and Zelda 2 remade.
Yeah.
And I would like to see them, because I feel like the original Zelda is a fantastic game. You could almost just leave it alone, just upgrade the graphics, give it an HD sheen. But I feel like with Zelda 2, there is some chinks in the armor. and they could actually fix some issues with that game to make it A, not as hard as it is, and B, just ultimately make it a game that we would love today. Because people that love Zelda 2, and I'm one of those people that love Zelda 2, they love it for a particular reason. But when you try to replay it today, it's hard to play it today. Part of that is because it's just a very super hard game.
Well, both of them, both 1 and 2 is what, to your point. Like, I think that's a good point. And I guess I didn't really go to the top-down just because we're getting that top-down retreatment. That's why I started to go back to 3D, and I'm like, of all the ones that I want redone, that was Ocarina. But yeah, I think it's an excellent point to remind us of it was the original open world, like the original, like, do whatever you want, just go wherever you want and do the things, and also to maybe smooth over some of the maybe needless or by chance difficulty that is associated with that game, because like you got to know exactly where to put that bomb on the side of the mountain or what tree to clear, like that kind of stuff. That ruins the experience for a lot of modern players who weren't looking for something to, like, that one game that was supposed to last them 6 years. Like, times have changed. You need to kind of like make those types of adjustments, I think.
Well, when you look at Link to the Past, right? What makes Link to the Past so special? This doesn't make it so special, but one of the things that they did was, like you said, like if you're walking along a walkway and you look over and you see like a crack in the wall, or you see like the outline of a door out of rocks and stuff, like, bomb that. Right. And like you didn't have that in the original. It was pure luck. Yeah. Like, people don't even realize you could legitimately burn one bush or blow up one wall in almost every single frame. I remember being young, and my cousin and I literally burned every single bush to see where the hidden stuff was. And it was like, sometimes you got money, sometimes you had to pay money to repair the guy's roof because you broke into his house. And it was like just crazy stuff that you could actually uncover in that original. Right. But it's so hard to find because of the fact, like you said, it's like there's no hint to it at all. The thing, too, with Zelda 2, what I would love to see done is, I think the hardest thing about, not even the hardest thing, but one of the things that bothers me that I would like to see changed about it is when you upgrade, right? Because it plays like a role-playing game. So a lot of people that you talk to that are good at it and enjoy it is, the idea is when you start that game off, grind. Treat it like an RPG. Just run around that field and fight stuff and grind up. But what I would like to see is, typically you have like health, weapon, and shield is basically your 3 options of upgrades. But you don't get to choose what it is. And I would love to see them treat it like Breath of the Wild, where when you get the 3 orbs, enough to upgrade, or the 4 orbs, enough to upgrade, you get to pick. Do you want stamina or do you want health? And it'd be nice to go like, hey, do you want health? Do you want to get stronger so you can beat stronger enemies? Or do you just want shield? And like, I feel like if you give the player the options, then it becomes more like a true RPG, which we don't have at this point.
Well, Zelda 2 is interesting because it's the one perspective or art style, I guess, that 2D side-scrolling thing that they could really play with, right? Like, we've seen the top-down stuff being sort of redone or reimagined with a Link Between Worlds. Obviously, they've gone 3D and they've remastered that, but like, what I feel like there's a lot of either back and forth that they could do, or they could make it like 2.5D doesn't sound too interesting to me, but they could translate that 2D style to 3D with maybe some 2D elements. Maybe there's parts of the gameplay that kind of like swap back and forth, kind of like couple of Paper Marios have done that, and
what's called too. You could basically make it almost like Samus Returns, where I don't think you played Samus Returns, but one of the cool things about that game was as you're it's a 2D, but it gives the feel of 3D. Right. And you could basically make it where it feels like there's depth within this side-scrolling level. Like, you're playing a level, and then like a Metroid flies from the background to the foreground, and it's like, whoa, what the heck? So, like, you could do stuff like that where you have enemies that come out from the background and you see them into the foreground, and it'd be pretty awesome to see them do stuff like that and to play and lean heavily into that stuff.
I'm gonna jump on that to say I think this is a chance for them to lean into the RPG elements of that and just go even more. Like, you kind of like, I think you made cool comparisons and connections to some of the boosts that you get in Breath of the Wild. But like, what if they just went all out and went, this is a role-playing game, like with XP, and like maybe you could adapt a little, maybe even go like action RPG, like a Diablo. Like maybe you start to hunt things down, you get better loot and things like. I think you could do a lot with that. Yeah. And start to kind of merge actually. But I'm gonna hold back. I'm gonna pull back on the go full out RPG. Go a little bit of action RPG instead of more adventure.
Yeah.
What would you even call Zelda? Is like it still kind of usually has like
I
an
would
RPG
call it like
element to it, but it's like action adventure.
It's like an action adventure. I think they actually titled that game Action Adventure.
But in the beginning, like back in the day, I think we got confused and we would call it an RPG. Like
the thing
that was just our playground.
Possibly, but I remember being a kid, we didn't know what RPGs were.
Exactly. That was the problem.
RPGs weren't anything.
Yeah.
Like,
couple kids were playing Final Fantasy and things like that.
Well, no, you had Phantasy Star. Well, Final Fantasy wasn't even out during Zelda 2. Final Fantasy wasn't here yet.
Not here.
So, what I'm saying, like, it wasn't in Japan and stuff yet. Final Fantasy, the original one, I don't believe hit until after Zelda 2. Because Nintendo was the one that pushed Final Fantasy to us. Dragon Warrior might have been here by that point, but that game wasn't beloved by many. Like, that was a kind of a hidden gem, more or less. But while you're looking that up,
87 it came out, Final Fantasy on NES.
And then
that's got to be before Zelda 2.
Oh, that was before Zelda because Zelda was 82 or 88. That was the Christmas of '88. That and Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yeah, I think it must have hit Japan first, January 1987.
Yeah,
is the first thing that comes up here anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's not like RPGs didn't exactly exist, but we were dumb kids, didn't know anything.
But we didn't know what they were.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing of it is because it wasn't until Nintendo really started forcing us, at least with Nintendo Power, they really started leaning into it, trying to teach people what RPGs were.
Yeah.
And so with Zelda, it was like there was RPG elements, but it really wasn't a true RPG game.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to kind of have a little bit of flow and freedom with it, but it really wasn't what people come to expect from a true RPG game.
So we've agreed that there's a lot of stuff that can be done with at least the first two games. I'll walk away from that Ocarina of Time thing. I just wanted to mostly say that.
No, I got you.
Need to land on that. Do you think that people would buy that? Like, I guess maybe that's where the 1 and 2 come into play. Like, if you hear it's Zelda 2 remade or remastered or recreated or whatever, like, do people get excited or do you need a little bit extra push? And
I think that's why you need 1 and 2.
I'm thinking of Fire Emblem when I say that. Like when they I don't know what do you call that when they redid the original Fire Emblem 2? I don't even know what I don't know, all these remasters terms. It's too confusing. But I feel like that fell short. I feel like it just kind of was perceived to be yet another Fire Emblem game that people didn't really have a connection to.
Yeah.
And didn't really hit maybe the way that they wanted to. And I'm worried that a Zelda 2 game would kind of and
that's why I said like I would do a twofer. I would do because in true theory, it's the first time that Nintendo actually, the Zelda series, did a true sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning like the one storyline bled into the second line, and Link's Awakening pretty much is a sequel as well,
right?
Because that's basically like it takes place after all the other stuff, but ultimately like you play Zelda 1. Zelda 2 is a true descendant upon. Like, it's basically like Ganon's dead. He's gone.
Spoilers.
And he's, is basically the only way to bring him back is for his I don't know, for lack of a better word, like his group of villains, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
His band of villains. The only way is for them to kill you and spill your blood on his bones, and then he can resurrect and come back to life. So, and every time you die, that's why you see Ganon's silhouette, like he's laughing and stuff, and it's a silhouette that he's coming back to life. So, ultimately, like it's a true sequel of sorts, you know, and so they leaned heavily into that. So I would love to see them double pack that and go, here you go, because the other thing too is like, there's no way you get a $60 price tag on one of them. But if you get a double pack,
you get a $60 price tag on this Game Boy game that they're doing.
People are losing their minds over that.
They're losing their minds for now, and then they're gonna be ponying up when that thing comes out. That is gonna be a difficult one to ignore, man.
Oh yeah, man.
Holy crap, that's awesome.
So real quick, I just want to talk about it a little bit because have always been on record of going like that game's horrible, and I want to rectify some of that.
Okay.
What I mean by that when I say that
When
is
I mean horrible, I mean specifically
it's
very
trash.
bad.
No, it's not trash. It's a good game,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. To me, it doesn't always fall under the guise of like it's a Zelda game. It's real quirky. It's real weird. And I understand it's like in a dream world and all that stuff because he's knocked out and whatever. So,
Spoilers.
but what are you spoilers? It's in the thing. You see him laying down on the ground, knocked out. Like, stop it. You stop. Anyway, the point is that the difficulty just ramps sky high on that game.
Yeah.
You get to a certain point and it's like, phew, gone. So I don't know whether that was just because I was a young boy that just didn't have the patience anymore with that game. It just was like, I'm done with it and just walked away from it.
I don't know, man.
But,
you'd be Tyson.
Well, that's true too, but I just didn't have the patience after Tyson. Tyson wore me down, man. So my thing is like I look at it and I go like, I would prefer to jump back. I'm excited to jump back into this because I want to give it another go. I want to give it another true, like, was I right or wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Because another game that was like that was Earthbound. I walked away from Earthbound as a young boy and was like, I'm done. This game is trash. I don't want nothing to do with it. And I always bagged on it, man.
Yeah.
And then it came out on the Wii U, and I bought it, and I fell in love. Like, fell in love with that game.
It could be just timing. Could be just timing.
Could be.
And I've been very loud about my opinion on 3D Zeldas. I don't think they're great for the most part. I think top-down Zeldas are phenomenal. Like,
yeah, they are great.
To the point where, like, that's why my firstborn son is named Link. Like, like that's the thing, and people can, they can make fun all they want about like my love-hate relationship with Zelda, but I truly think that the 3D Zeldas, they feel a little watered down. They feel a little bloated at times, particularly with Skyward Sword. But I love me some top-down Zelda, so that's why I'm so stoked about this, dude. I love that this is the way that they're tackling that. We all knew that they could never go back-to-back 3D Zeldas.
Oh,
this is so perfect as like a somewhat follow-up to Breath of the Wild. This is so good.
I'm with you. They definitely could go back to back. But this is also kind of like the nice thing about this one is it's still that open world feel to it. Because you can go anywhere. Now you get locked out of certain areas, but it's no different than in Breath of the Wild. Like, yeah, Breath of the Wild, you can go anywhere, but let's be fair. You truly can't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. Because you have to have enough stamina to be able to climb over that wall. And if you don't, you're not going to make it. And you're going to fall down to the bottom of the mountain and be frustrated. So there is still that little difficulty to get over stuff. So I feel like that's kind of what this game is. It's one of the, because I also feel like this wasn't one of those games of like, hey, here's the weapon of the dungeon. Get this, and then this is, it was still just before they started to move into that a little bit. So
it's going to feel fresh from that perspective. It's not going to feel like overly formulaic, which is great.
Yeah, I'm exciite for it.
Nice, man.
So here's the thing. And this one, we kind of have a wide open thing. So the one game that never gets remasters or remakes is Mario. A lot of that is because Miyamoto has come out and said he doesn't believe in him. And he doesn't want anything to do with him. Mm-hmm. And he definitely doesn't want anything to do with Mario. And Mario is his baby, and he's very protective. Aonuma is kind of in charge of Zelda. And that's the one. He's the one that pushes and does those. Even though Miyamoto is the creator of it, he's kind of released the reins to him, and he does what he needs to do.
You deflated my excitement about this from the beginning. I'm like, oh man, wouldn't it be great if some of these Mario things could happen? And you basically just said that that's absolutely never going to happen.
Well, it's not never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
What, Mario stuff?
Yeah, that's what pretty much
I think once he's out of the picture, then it happens.
Out of the picture.
Well, I mean, like, if he just finally steps down from Nintendo and it's just, just doesn't do anything, he's going to retire at some point, I think. I mean, he's pretty damn close to retirement now.
I think he dies before he leaves for Nintendo.
That's possible, too.
Pulls in a water, you know what I mean?
You're probably true. So, but anyway, we can still have fun with it. So the idea is, what would be the first Mario game that we would remaster and bring to the Switch? And it's huge. It's massive. There's so many Mario games.
Yeah.
And
I just limited
when I
to
say
like
Mario, I
mainline
mean
Mario.
2D. What's that?
I just did like mainline Mario, not like Mario at the Olympics or like Paper
That's what I was
Mario or
gonna
anything
say.
like that.
Yeah, none of that nonsense. What mainline Mario games do we feel have the opportunity? So we need to whittle this down.
I agree.
First.
I've got 5. I've whittled it down to 5.
Okay, so my question to you is, do we go 3D or do we go 2D?
I think I've got one 3D. Most of mine are 2D though. I've got
Okay.
I've got a special place in my heart for a 3D game that's somewhat old enough that I think is special. But for the most part, I think I'd like to see in light of like them doing something really cool and new and special with a Game Boy game. I'd like to see them do something new and cool with some of the 2D stuff as well. We can go back in time a little bit.
Okay, so, and this is where we'll get into it a little bit. Let's start with the 3D game,
All right.
and then we'll shift to the 2D.
Okay.
And then we'll come to a consensus on it.
Okay.
So, in your mind, what's the 3D game that has to be remastered?
I feel like there's only one answer. I feel like if you have anything else, then you can just like cut it out of the show completely, Bobby. The answer, of course, is Super Mario Galaxy. And I would say maybe do a 2-pack. I'll steal maybe your idea. Do 1 and 2 as a remaster. Do both of them. Put it into 1 pack and call it a day. That would be absolutely gorgeous. That game is unstoppable. Those games are unstoppable. You throw Yoshi up in there. Any other... hang on a second. Wait a minute. I'm skipping Mario 64.
Thank you.
What the hell am I doing?
I don't know. I'm
What
sitting
am I-
here and I'm listening to you talk and I'm going, are you insane,
Yeah,
bro?
nope.
The
Hang on. I back it
same
up.
reason you gave
Yep.
Ocarina
You're right.
is
You're
the
right.
same reason here for 64.
Let me walk this back a little bit. I'm a little embarrassed.
You should be embarrassed.
All right. Just don't dig in, buddy. Holy crap. All right, I'm blushing here. Holy cow. I have a lot of love for Mario Galaxy, but you're right. There is a lot of things to be fixed. There's actually way more things to be fixed with Mario 64, and there's a lot more, I think, reverence for Mario 64. My son likes Mario 64 better than Galaxy. So yes, that is my answer for the 3D. Let me just switch gears a little bit. Special shout out to Galaxy.
I think you're looking at a situation where with 64, they could do a whole new overhaul on the graphics.
Mm-hmm.
They could basically bring him up to speed to what he looks like now. I mean, you could do something very similar to what they did with Odyssey, where you have the Mario 64 outfit, and you can kind of like go back and play that way, but keep it still where it's like, hey, we're going to play in this new world, this new, fresh, shiny world. Camera controls are a must. The camera controls in that game are trash, just straight up.
And if anything is proven that there's a way to actually go back to these old games and fix the camera controls and make everything feel modern, believe it or not, like Spyro is the example, dude. Like, I don't know if you played that Reignited thing that they did last year. I've been vocal as a son of a gun that Spyro games bore the crap out of me, and those Reignited games were very, very good.
Yeah.
So you can go back to this polygon era, like the polygonal, just nonsense graphics, the 2D sprites that were supposed to be like in a 3D world, and you can definitely make that really, really work. I'd love to see like modern, like the water graphics that we got in on the 64, like when you jump into a painting and everything. That could just be so. Yeah. It could be so great. What if like it wasn't even the ripple? Like what if it just like you jump into a painting and the paint splattered onto the screen, like almost like Splatoon kind of thing. Like you could really kind of like play with that a little bit. And you fill out those worlds, like you jump into some of these, especially like the desert worlds and things like that. Very barren. I mean, that's what a desert is, I guess. But it just looked like they were cutting corners a little bit. New textures, no more like triangle points.
It's your first time, as Nintendo, it's the first time they get into a 3D game. They created the 3D genre. Nobody else messed with it before them. So I get it. I understand why it was what it was. And I understand why it was lacking. But at the time, it was the greatest game ever. I mean, you go back and you look at history, like 10s across the board. It was just nuts, the amount of like notoriety and respect and praise this game got.
Maybe the best secrets in a game. Like arguably the best secret. We talked about it in the Zelda segment that like you just didn't even know you'd have to like burn down every tree or bomb every part of the wall. But like there's something about either Mario 64 or Mario World, I think, have the best secrets. And just the way that like it interacted with the map in world is kind of like where I start to think maybe that had, but like really cool like stars that you didn't even know weren't listed there, and you started to discover like, oh man, if I get this many coins, or if I like things that the game never told you.
Yeah.
And then oh god, 64 is something. And the other thing that I would look forward to is which is why I like Galaxy quite a lot, is redo that soundtrack with a live orchestra. So we're not even talking just about the graphics. Like just get out of that medium and you can flip back and forth, kind of like Halo does it with their anniversary editions. That would be really cool. Man, maybe I don't even want some of these older games. Okay, so that's definitely the right 3D one.
I mean, that's the right 3D one. So where were you at with a 2D one?
I was starting to think about my most played Mario game, believe it or not, is Super Mario Land 2: The Six Golden Coins.
Okay.
I have played that game front to back dozens, if not 100 times. Yeah. And I thought that it would be really cool to reimagine that, but at the same time, like this Zelda game that they're doing it has the opportunity to be, it's already a large game. Like Six Golden Coins is very small. It's very short. You can pretty much beat it in a sitting. Yeah. So I don't necessarily know if that's quite the right answer. So I kind of want to go on the opposite end of the spectrum. There's a couple of ones in the middle that we'll probably land on, but the fifth game that I have listed is Super Mario World 2: Yoshi's Island, because hear me out. What if you're
I'm listening, but it's trash.
Oh, it's not trash. That's the reason why I want to go back to it, is because I wish, especially with Baby Mario, sounds a lot like Bobby the Nintendo Guru.
I can't stand that kid. I can't stand that kid, man.
Dude, when that game came out, people liked it, and they have always
liked the graphics. They thought aesthetically it was amazing.
Yep.
After they started playing and hearing that baby cry the time,
you know, they can be louder now. You can have it in surround sound. You can have it in surround sound now.
It was mind-numbing, man.
It's great. That game is great, and no other Yoshi's Island game, or even Yoshi game for that matter, has ever even come close to this game, and that's why I'm excited to go back and have everybody come back to it at the the time, if I'm telling you the truth. But that's probably not going to happen. So then it's either Super Mario 2 or 3. Super Mario 2 or 3. Like I know you'd land on Super Mario 2.
So my answer is simple. I feel like you do this. You do a obviously Mario 64 for the 3D.
Yep.
Mario All-Stars for
you just do them all. That's kind of a cheap answer. Do them all.
It might be a cheap answer, but here's the thing. When I look at it, Sean, they are the main 4 just unbelievable 2D Mario games ever. They're the most memorable ones. These new ones are just trash.
What is this? I'm hearing so much revisionist history on Super Mario Brothers U. People talking about like this is the best. I think Chris Johnson was even saying this on Player One podcast. Like this is the best 2D Mario game since Mario 3. No, or I don't know. I'm probably misquoting him. But
listen, I've heard people saying it was the best 2D Mario since Super Mario All-Star.
Like,
and I'm like,
what?
It's not. I mean, it's a good game. I'm not going to take anything from it. I just hate the mechanics of the new Mario games.
I think it's completely forgettable. Completely forgettable. Here's my worry about the All-Stars thing, Bobby, is I'm on board with it, so long as they're able to give each one of the games a very special treatment. And what I wanted to get to with Super Mario 3 is for them to lean a little bit into the notion that the game is a play, that it's like a theater play. Yeah. And I would love to see how that would translate now, like with maybe it's some cutscenes in the middle of the game or in between levels or worlds or something to be able to dive into, A, that it's a play, and then B, the different worlds. Like, I'm just trying to remember what it was like as a kid jumping into these games for the first time and going like, okay, the first world is like a pretty usual like overworld. Everything it's a Mario game. And then like next thing you know, you're in this tower. Next thing you know, you're up in the sky, and like all the different lands, big land, all the different things. It was always so, it punched you in the face. You got this pipeline, World 7 is everything.
Yeah.
Like for them to be able to revisit that, and because I don't think that's what I feel like is missing in the new 2D Mario games. Is that you go from level to level and like, who cares? The first level, is it the 7th level? Like, who cares, man? Like these things have they're not memorable.
They have no heart.
They don't have heart. They have no character is actually the thing. I think that maybe there's heart. It's just the character is missing. So that's why, like, for me, it's Mario 3, and that's why Mario 3 is my favorite game of all time, is because it was a sense of discovery Every time you either hit the warp whistle, which in and of itself is crazy, as a mechanic, and things and an item that you can pick up. But you could do cool things with like the P-Wings, and the airships could be really cool. Like there's so much going on in that game that you could reimagine from a visual standpoint. And who knows, man? The other thing we mentioned with the Zelda 2 is go from 2D to 3D. I would really like them to just go balls nuts with Mario 3, even if it's not completely like Mario 64 3D. If you had most of the game like 2D, but then every once in a while it's kind of got that isometric or almost like 3D land or 3D world on the Wii U. Some of that top-down kind of stuff.
Yep.
I think
it'd be awesome.
I mean, it kind of ties in because of the Tanuki. The Tanuki suit made a reappearance in 3D land. So
well, the thing is with me is like I look at what. Even like 2, if they made 2, like, made it feel like, hey, Mario is dreaming. Because that's what that is. Yeah. Mario's asleep and dreaming. And then 1, you just kind of like, I don't know what you can really do with 1. But I feel like I get what you're saying. Like, each game should have an aesthetic change from game to game to game. So this way, because when you played those original games, each game had an aesthetic change that made it stand out. That's the problem for me. That's my problem with the new games.
Yeah.
When they hit new, it's like they forgot how to make games.
Yeah.
It's the same. Like every single Mario game looked different from the one before it.
Yep.
Until after All-Star, until after Super Mario World.
Yep.
Then they moved to the new
you hit the DS, and that was it.
And that was it. They've never changed the style at all. And I feel like if
Switch
they go
is the
back
time,
and
man.
Exactly.
This is the time.
So now here's the question. What's the most important game to remaster? We have 2 games, I feel, ultimately on the line here. So which would you do?
I think probably 64, but I want to throw something else at you. What if they redid Mario 3 and they also redid The Wizard? What if the first time you heard about the Mario 3 remaster?
Don't make me end the show already. I'm not ready to end the show. Please don't make me end the show already.
I mean, we're pretty much there. But...
We're not there yet. All right. So, oh my God, you are just so bad.
Somebody, I think Rybo's going to at least agree with that.
Listen, I'm becoming more kindred spirit with Luke Lore.
Oh, are you going to replace me? You guys...
No, it's just, no, I'm not going to replace you, but it's just like, I hear you talk sometimes on that show, and I'm just like, oh, Luke, I know your pain. I know your pain. This
is why I did We the Gamercast by myself, because I could have temporary friendships with people like one week to week. Nobody had to put up with me 2 weeks in a row.
Exactly.
Except me. That's painful enough. Trust me.
No, I feel like Mario 64 is the one that needs to happen. I feel like Mario 64 is the game that everybody, like you said, with the Zelda game, like everybody points to Mario 64, and for the most part, like in terms of like 3D games, that's probably the number 1 game. I mean, obviously you get into Galaxy and stuff, and like people are like, oh my God, I love it. But like you think about the first time you played Mario 64 and how special it was and how much it meant to you, that if you turn around and you do redo this game, it could, to me, it leapfrogs Galaxy 1 and 2. Like, it takes it to another level. Because if the hardest thing is going back to that game now and trying to play, and the reason why it's not that great game is the camera, the aesthetics. There's so much missing behind it. So if you buff that up and you make it look sweet, we don't have a problem, and we just move forward.
Well, the other thing too is that we've actually seen like fan recreations of Mario 64 using the Unreal Engine. And you can see the denim on his overalls and things like that, and the stitches and everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've had like glimpses of what this could be like, and the blades of grass and in front of Peach's castle, and like the bricks that actually make up her castle is really quite stunning. And we've seen some of that a little bit in the HD world of within Mario Kart. So you get a little bit of glimpse into like what this might actually look like, and I take it back. I just have a whole lot of love for Galaxy, dude. So okay, so is that are you okay?
We're good. Yeah, we're good.
Are you okay?
Yeah, we're good.
You're not gonna kick me off the show? No, I'm gonna.
No, just stop it.
I'm getting like I'm show up next week all ready to go. It'll be Friday, and I get on the Skype call, and you're sitting there already like making sweet podcast love to Luke Lore.
I was sitting there talking to
Jason
Joseph Moran
Lacey.
again.
Probably Jason Lacey comes back. You're like, hey man, I quit the shack to kick Sean off if we ran Nintendo.
Lord. God. So that is all.
that was
Thank
fun.
you guys for listening to another episode of If We Ran Nintendo. Hope you enjoyed it. This was a good one.
That was a good one.
You can follow Sean Capri over on the Twitters at Sean Like Connery, Capri Like the Pants. He also does the Xbox Drive with Luke Lord. Check that out, please. You can follow me over on Twitters at Nintendo Gurus, Instagram at Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.
Bye. Hi, Toby.